Welcome to the stream, everyone. We'll get started here in a few minutes. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. Great comment, Philip. Actually, I hope not. I don't like being that stressful. No, today's stream should be a little more laid back. I think I've played the Grym encounter enough that I think I have a pretty good handle on it. But again, I have had a pretty good handle on the Nere encounter as well, and that went all overboard too. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Hey, Lord Henry, thanks for being here. Yeah, I wasn't expecting things to go south that badly. and I certainly get it. Some people like it and some people don't, but just like in tabletop, when I play tabletop campaigns, my thought process plays out in real time. So all of you get to see it kind of work its way out in my head. And some people like me explaining that, and some people do. I certainly get it. It's not something that you see in a lot of live streams or in videos. But yeah, having that play out in real time was even more stressful for me, having to have the comments and things in my head going out live. But we are going to get into some combat today. Yeah, it was so horrible. And you know what? I went back and played that off stream. I went and picked that up just to see if I could figure out what caused it. And it doesn't seem to be a every time repeatable thing. I went and picked up that potion while I was in stealth half a dozen times, and I think 4 out of the times that I picked it up, I was randomly accosted later on for thievery, and the other 2 I wasn't at all. So I have no idea what the trigger point there is. I have no idea. I picked it up, came right out of stealth, watched that gnome walk right by me 3 or 4 times, and they did nothing in one of the playthroughs, so I have no idea. Hey Cyber, welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. But either way, it led to some good content. So it's one of the things I said. I don't save scum my live streams because it can lead to some good content. But today we are going to get into some combat, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, probably a good idea. Let it sit where it is, and then come back and loot it after you've taken a long rest and all of the Dwergar disappear. Oh, and actually, I might have said gnome last time. Yeah, I watched the Dwergar walk past me 3 or 4 times. So. I'm also anxious today because we're going to get to do a little bit of testing, something that I didn't get to do off stream. So hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of interesting knowledge delved into today. It's an aspect of certain items in the game that some people might not be aware of. It's kind of obscure. So should be interesting today. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 20 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So today we have a few admin items to go through. First, and most excitingly, Larian has announced that they are going to be announcing the official release date for the Xbox Series S and X version of Baldur's Gate 3 coming up at the Game Awards 2023 show, which I believe is on December 7th. They have previously committed to getting the Xbox version of the game out before the end of the year, and announcing the final date at an award show on December 7th doesn't leave a whole lot of time. So hopefully that's still the case. The Xbox Series S didn't support split screen, and Microsoft has this, I get it, this parity rule so that everything that happens on Series X also has to happen on Series S, so that they're not sunsetting the Series S hardware when a game comes out. But it led to problems with Baldur's Gate 3 because you couldn't play split screen multiplayer, and they got an exemption for that, which was actually huge. That almost never happens. But I think they realized that they're starting to miss out on player base here by holding themselves up and not releasing the game on their platform. So Larian has come out this week and said that they're going to announce the release date coming up here in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. I'm happy for all the Xbox players out there that are soon going to be getting that version coming to their platforms. Hey Smurf, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. So the next thing is that this week there was another hotfix released, and this one was kind of hidden a little bit because it didn't show up in the Larian launcher. It shows up in Steam, it just does not show up in the Larian launcher yet. And that was hotfix 11 was released. Hotfix 11 fixed some more issues, specifically some fairly major cinematic issues that happened with some background rendering and things like that. There were also several halt states that were fixed due to some save game issues and things like that. So again, make sure your game is is updated to the latest version if you haven't already. And saying that, I need to lead you into the next admin note, and that is for PS5 players. I try my best to keep up on news from all of the platforms here, and patch 4, reading the forums, there's been a lot of pushback from PS5 players that patch 4, with all of the changes it made, really hampers performance, especially in Act 3. And people were mentioning, don't update that version, to that patch on PS5 until they get it worked out. Larian is aware of it. They're working to try and isolate sources of it. So I wasn't aware of that when I mentioned that everyone needs to, like I normally do, update their games as quick as they could. So for PS5 players, I apologize. Like I say, didn't hear anything negatively until a few days after that, and it was obviously too late at that point to get it into the stream. So for PS5, hopefully we'll get some fixes coming out for that from Larian fairly shortly, but PS5, you may want to hold off on a patch 4 update. I don't have a PS5, I just have an Xbox Series X, so I can't experiment with the rollback features and that sort of stuff on it. But I just do need to throw it out there that if you haven't done it already on PS5, you might not want to trigger that update if it can be avoided. Like I say, I'm not familiar with PS5 update protocols and that sort of stuff, but it has generated a lot of comments on the forums. And what was I had another admin note. I know I did. So now I have to try and remember what it was. Oh, yes. I know what it is. And that is the announcement of the new deluxe edition that is going to be released in the first quarter of 2024. I know there's a lot of... I did not get the collector's edition. I got the digital deluxe edition. I'm not much into the collectible side of things, but I know a large percentage of players are. The new deluxe edition comes with a lot of new physical items for the different platform versions, including actual physical install media, which games have been going away from, but has always been something that a lot of collectible gamers have been interested in doing and having, so that you always have an offline playable, installable and playable version of the game. And with our reliance on Steam and that sort of stuff, it can get fairly difficult if you don't have reliable internet, or your internet connections aren't the fastest. And this offers people a physical way to do that, as well as things like the soundtrack. There's a poster, there's a large world map that comes with it, some patches and that sort of stuff. And the thing about it is that it only costs $10 more than the base game cost. The collector's edition was fairly expensive compared to the base game. The deluxe edition here is not nearly as pricey. And so if you are looking for a physical type of memento type of edition. The announcement of the deluxe edition might be something to look into for you. It's going to be, all they've said is that it's going to be released in the first quarter of 2024 after the Xbox releases happened. So keep your eye out for that if that's something that interests you. So I think I've talked enough about that stuff. And hey, Osmura, welcome to the stream. So on to our recap. So as we all know, at the end of last live stream, we went long last live stream because of the horrible circumstances that we found ourselves in with the Nere encounter. Every Dwergar in the camp turned hostile toward us at one point or another during that fight, and it was fairly intense. We did manage to come out of it unscathed, and we actually managed to play it out really, really well, thanks to the amazing spell from Will. The grasp of Hadar, the cloud of Hadar, that really is just an amazing AoE denial damaging movement spell. It's just amazing. But we came out of it on the right side of things. So today we are going to do some looting. We're going to do some talking to some corpses. We're going to do some quest finishing with the Myconids, and we're going to explore some other areas of the Grym Forge. And this is going to lead us to the penultimate encounter in Act 1, which is the fight at the Adamantine Forge. There's quite a bit of content here, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get through it all today. But let's jump right in here and see what we can do. Okay, so here we are, and there are the bodies of dead Dwergar everywhere, all over this place, and a bunch that you can not really see up here. So let's look at our carry weight situation. So I've got a little bit left. And then Will and Astarion do, so let's do some looting here. I will actually keep that.
No traps, please.
And all of this is really just going to be sold off, is what's going to happen. Okay, so we do have a journal here. Talks about what has been happening with him since his clan was destroyed, and how Nere is taken over, and that sort of stuff. Some interesting lore, but that's really about it. The Deep Delver is the item that is on Elder Brithvar. It's basically a 1d8 war pick. The trait on it is Dig Deep, which inflicts Shattered. And yeah, it doesn't tell you about it, but it inflicts Shattered on hit, and then it deals an additional 1d4 piercing damage against shattered targets. So it's every time that you hit, you're going to be doing an additional 1d4 because you've already inflicted shatter on that target. Shatter, I haven't played that much with it as an effect outside of the shatter spell itself. So I haven't played with it as an effect to see entirely what it does. But either way, it's not something that I'm going to be really focused on. We'll probably end up just selling that, to be completely honest, because we're not going to use it. Okay, there are a lot of very useful scrolls of Revivify here. So do make sure you pick those up.
Can't slow down.
Go up here and search drawer. And I think that's it. I don't think we actually killed anybody up top here. We did not. Okay, so this is broken. Oh, no it's not. I forgot. All we've dealt with is... I'm used to having this fight all at once. We've cleared out all of the Dwergar, but we haven't actually fought Nere yet. I completely forgot about that. So, yes, that is something that we're going to have to do here. So, let's clear out the rest of these things. Yeah, that encounter, like I say, completely threw everything for a loop with me there. So, the Cap of Wrath is here on, and I forget his name, on Thud. The Cap of Wrath is another one of those when your hit points are low type of things. When your hit points drop below 50%, you gain Wrath for 2 turns, and Wrath is just a straight +1 bonus damage to your melee weapons. There are multiple items that give you Wrath, and you can stack them all up, and I think there's a total bonus damage of +3 with all of the items. But you're sacrificing so much to get it that it's just not worth it. So Astarian's now encumbered. Okay, so that should be good. Okay, just a couple more here. And with the studded leather armor, I don't know if that's going to encumber Will. It doesn't. Okay. Alright. So now we're going to go in here and have an encounter with Nere. And this is playing out just entirely differently. I've actually never had this happen, so I'll be anxious to see how the dialogue works. But with this encounter, I don't think it's really important that we do any pre-positioning or anything like that. I don't think this encounter is going to be that hard since we're dealing with Nere entirely by himself. So I don't think it's really a big deal here. I'm going to go up, I'm going to talk to the gnomes and see if they have different dialogues now, because the Dwergar aren't whipping them to do this.
Something's on my mind.
And yes,
Gnomes speak in soft whispers, the words all but lost in the hot air.
and yes, Cyber, after you take a long rest, if you take a long rest here inside the Grym Forge, after you get here, then this entire thing will have, all of the Dwergar will have cleared out, the gnomes will be gone, and you will find Nere's dead body in here. It's one of those time things that I mentioned when we got into the Grym Forge. So once you get in here, you don't want a long rest. You want to get the Nere portion of this area out of the way as quick as you can. Ooh, jeez. Nice roll starting off here, I can tell already.
I'll never get through. We need that smoke powder.
Philomeen's gone, and if she's smart, she won't be coming back.
Beldron's trapped with that maniac Nere. If you won't find Philomeen, I will.
Forget the smoke powder. There could be more slavers out there. You draw them right to her. Glittering gods. She actually survived.
Praise Ironhand. Larida, our prayers are answered. Mom, our friends are trapped in the cave-in, and I know a way to get them out.
Bug, please. Truce on Nere will... You know what he'll do. Bug, don't!
I've got no choice, Larida. We have to chance it. A few days back, there was a scene. Our friend Philomeen, she's a sapper, set off a blast and ran off. We set a spot for hiding if someone found trouble. I'll mark your map. If Philomeen made it, you'll find her there. She'll have the stuff to blow that tunnel wide open and get Beldron and the rest out.
Okay, now we're going to play this one a little differently. If you use your own smoke powder here, then the entire encounter with Philomeen disappears. If you open this up yourself and deal with Nere using your own smoke powder satchels or smoke powder bombs, then you will not be able to have an interaction with Philomeen. And you'll see that in our Paladin playthrough here in a few hours. But for now, we're going to just illustrate the Philomeen quest, or side quest, or side encounter, so you can see what it's like.
Please, please don't hurt my Phil. I beg you.
Hurry! Our people won't last in that cave-in forever.
So the things that I had mentioned earlier is about action economy and managing it here to get this entire encounter done without taking a long rest. So taking a look, you can see that we've used quite a bit of our action economy. We don't have any more short rests available to us. Lae'zel is completely out of her superiority die, and we're down about just a couple of level 2 spell slots. But the way to get to Philomeen, and this has now been marked on your map here, there's only one encounter that takes, or one combat encounter that takes place while trying to get over there. And it's not a very difficult one, in my opinion. However, we do need to make some adjustments here in what we're carrying. So let me look real quick and see if I've thrown some of these things in my camp chest. I think I probably have. Yeah, it looks like I have. So the only bludgeoning weapons that I have are here. So we're going to change some of our equipment out. I would prefer to have a bludgeoning weapon here instead of a slashing weapon. I might be able to do it with piercing damage. I'm not entirely sure. When we get there, we'll check the resistances. But I'm going to swap this out too for now until we see what the resistances are, because we're going to start it with Astarion anyway. So we're going to head back this way. And we're going to go up and have the encounter with Philomeen. Like I say, just so you can see what it's like. Okay, and to have that encounter, you travel through here. Through this location. Okay. Now, here, I'm going to put everybody in hiding. I'm going to toggle my group, and I'm going to take Astarion out here.
Quietly.
And we've seen this room a little bit. You see there are these dripping pools of acid on the floor here. Okay, they just mentioned that this looks like a good spot for an ambush if you succeed in that perception check. And that is exactly true. That is what's going to happen here. So you can see there's 3 of these acid pools, and I'm going to move myself all the way up here. And I'm going to take a potion of healing here. And I'm going to start this off by dropping myself out of hiding. Okay, so what moving up here does is, one, it moves you farther away from these two. So they have to move up towards you. It also gives you the high ground up here against against the 2 ochre jellies that are down here. Now, ochre jellies have some fairly interesting attacks and qualities, so to speak. So they are resistant to slashing damage, so they're not resistant to piercing damage. So I guess the war pick that we put on our bard will be just fine. So, but slashing damage resistance, they're going to take only half damage from it. So your piercing damage is what you want to utilize, or bludgeoning damage. And they are resistant to lightning. They are not resistant to any other damage types, though. So here with Astarion, both the short sword of the First Blood and the steel forged sword are piercing damage weapons. So they're not going to be resistant to these at all. And the other benefit, actually I can't do it here because he's threatened. Oh, he's not threatened. Okay. That's interesting. So can I go into hiding here? Right next to him? I can. Okay. I thought, oh, because, no, he doesn't have to move to make this attack, so that's strange. Normally, I thought they changed that. Well, I'm positive they changed it. You couldn't go into hiding when you were threatening an enemy. I'm within melee range, so I should be threatening this ochre jelly, but I'm not. So it's going to allow me to do a sneak attack because I can go into hiding and gain advantage because of it. Okay, and then I can get an offhand attack here. Wow. Bunch of crits. Okay, so now we have a couple of options here, and you can see the detection cones are covering up all of this area. I'm going to let Astarion end his turn up here and absorb these attacks for 1 round. Okay, so he took a big hit there. I actually wasn't expecting that big of a hit. But yeah, did do a lot of bludgeoning damage. They have 3d6 bludgeoning damage. They can also cause you to drop your weapons, which isn't great. But now I should be able to kill this ochre jelly. Okay, he's just critting all over the place. That was his 3rd crit. Okay, so the detection cones coming up the stairs are kind of offsetting a little bit because of the stairs, so I might even be able to go into hiding again here. But now what that does is it frees up all of this area for my movement.
Keeping low.
So now we're going to get my other party members into combat here. And I would like to try, if I can, and avoid the acid pools. See if I can jump here without triggering them. I can. I'm still in hiding. Okay, so we have a bludgeoning weapon. Again, they're not resistant to that. Okay, we might as well use Luck of the Far Realms here. We're going to take a long rest after we finish this up. Let's take another jump across here. Okay, I'm looking to see here. I don't think... Yeah, creatures without weapons can't have weak grip, so weakening strike from this isn't going to matter. Let's see... if instead So we'll do the same thing. We'll move him up there. We'll avoid the acid. Going to try not to group my characters up too much, so I might actually leave Will down here. The penalty for being on low ground to hit is going to be a thing. So for instance, you see I'm on low ground here. I just got a notification that my Wi-Fi connection was lost. We'll keep an eye on it. But I do have advantage because of hiding here. So I am going to turn off the repelling blast feature here. Okay. Wow, critted again. Yep. Only rolled a 3 on the second one. And now, Astarian, we can see what we have left on them. So 23 and 21. Get the additional sneak attack damage. And that's exactly what I wanted. Was for them both to miss with her higher armor class. That's why I changed her out for this. Okay, so 1 down. Okay, we might as well action surge. And there we go. Okay, so it's not a very difficult fight. Again, it's just managing your action economy to make sure that you're not utilizing too much here before you would then normally go into the near fight with all of the Dwergar after this. So you do get ochre jelly slimes from these. Again, another crafting ingredient for a potion here, the elixir of Galful movement. Again, we're going to learn much more about all of these once we get into later acts here, and it becomes much more economical to craft these things than it is to buy them.
I wonder if the gods are watching me.
Now we'll make our way across here. And again, another one of these jumps. I'm going to quick save before this. I can't tell you how many times playing early access that I have seen my characters jump across gaps like this and just miss and fall into a chasm and die. I can't even count it. It's been more than a dozen times. So if something stupid like that happens, I'm definitely going to reload it. That will be the exception to my rule about save scumming things. Okay, so here we have an intricate door, and we have a plaque.
Let feast the eyes of the faithful. Know your goddess. Know her command.
Hey, there's some torches that we can loot, and you can move out here and just take a look over the surrounding area here. You can see the verticality in this. This is right where we came from, out here. So you can see, and how well made the levels really are. We're going to be getting into this upper area here in a little bit.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, now there are two ways in here. You can pick your way in through the door. That's not a problem. You can also make your way around here. There's a chasm creeper. And you can make your way in here. And you can see here, there's a barrel on this pedestal. Now you can move in here a little bit and do a little quick searching. But here you can see Philomeen. And once you get close enough, a cutscene's going to trigger. And you definitely want your high persuasion character to be leading the group when they go in there. So I normally walk in here and talk and trigger the encounter before I start searching anything, just to make sure that the character who triggers it is actually my persuasion character.
Hold it! I swear to Iron Hand. One more step and a blow us to chunks.
An ashen scent fills the air. The barrel is filled with smoke powder.
Chuck.
The gnome's well and truly mad.
Shut your mouth, Hoon, or I'll shut you down. Dropping my name like your cultist ass knows me. Like we're friends. I know what you are. One of Nere's cult goons. Sailed right in. Better to die in this shit heap than rot in Moonrise. You want me? Come get me.
Okay, so you're presented with persuasion and intimidation options here. You can also add in detect thoughts to try and get yourself another option here. Before you come in here, you need to have a save somewhere close, because this is again one of those it will end your game type of scenarios, possibly. You can survive this, but highly doubtful. So we're going to try this persuasion option up here, and you can see the bonuses that we have from persuasion. It's not a high DC. Some of the DCs on the other ones do differ a little bit. So here I can only fail it with a 1. Having the conversation with Larian gets you the easiest persuasion chance. There at and over here, use your perception skill to overhear their conversation. Then your DCs of the other choices are going to be higher. So having that conversation at the rockfall is definitely to your advantage here.
Larian! Ruddy mind games. I know all about your tricks, true soul. Shit. I can't do it. Go on. Drag me to Moonrise. I'll make you cult nutters suffer.
Okay, so there are several ways to play this out. We have not had a conversation learning all about the rune powder yet. But you can just let her go, and she will take the rune powder with her back to the Iron Hand Gnomes. We can instead say that we need the smoke powder to clear the cave-in.
You want to waste rune powder on... Look, you have no idea what you're dealing with. Any true Iron Hand would trade their life for a grain of this stuff. It's the whole damn reason we're here, and I'm not leaving without it. But let me go. Maybe I'll spare you a vial.
Okay, so we do have a history check here. Might as well try it. It's a really, really high DC. So we're going to have to roll at least a 19 to guarantee this. I love D&D.
Rune powder is gnomish folklore, an explosive of awesome power handed down to the gnomes by their war god, Gerdel Ironhand, a formula so dangerous it was stricken from history, if it ever existed to begin with.
We've heard the same ones, I bet. A fistful of fire that can turn cities to dust. Well, it's real. And I need to bring it back to Baldur's Gate. I'd rather my clan were with me, but the mission comes first. A vial's what I can spare you.
And here you get a chance to delve into a little bit about what's happening here. We learned much more about the Iron Hand Gnomes and their quest for rune powder in the Paladin playthrough. We haven't had that encounter because you learn about that after you have freed the gnomes from Nere. We haven't done that yet. So this gives you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about what's happening here.
Look, we're freedom fighters. We need this powder to prove a point. To people who really need a point proven to them. Let me go, and you'll be on the right side of history. That's all I can say.
Okay, so here we again start being presented with a choice here. One person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. So it's all a matter of perspective. And that is where the lore behind this plays a much bigger part than what you see in the game. The Iron Hand Gnomes have been a historically enslaved and or used race in the Forgotten Realms. And there are groups of them, specifically the Iron Hands, who are fighting for quote-unquote freedom, while at the same time using some tactics that might not be all of that great. So you're presented with an option here that doesn't mean a whole lot now.
Could light up the Underdark. A vial is plenty. Just let me go my way.
But can have consequences later on. This is one of those choices that you won't really learn about the consequences of it until Act 3. So your options here are deal or no deal. And we're going to select deal in this case and let her give us a vial of the rune powder and let her take the tub.
Listen, you see Larider at the dig? Tell her I'm dead, impaled, half-eaten. I don't care. Make up a story.
She's leaving. Larider will be heartbroken.
beloved. I might have been hers. She sure as hell wasn't mine. I'm getting the rune powder back to Baldur's Gate. Alone.
Okay. So, for her, for this encounter, you're not going to see any noticeable impacts in Act 3. As of right now. And yes, you can steal with a second character, Prit, if you want. I actually do not know how that impacts the cutscene and how it plays out and that sort of stuff. For now, and I'm going to let you... This is a little tinfoil hat conspiracy crafting. The forums were rife with this during early access. In what effects giving the rune powder to the Iron Hand gnomes would have. Right now, I haven't, in my personal playthrough, I haven't seen any impact of either killing her or letting her go having any effect in Act 3. Now, I could be wrong about that. I haven't gotten all the way through it to see, but there are a lot of interesting theories about what might happen with this in the future if and when Larian decides to release a DLC. The DLC's been a hot topic of recent time, and Larian has... It's now falling down on the side that there probably is going to be some sort of expansion or DLC. We just don't know anything about when or what it's going to be about. But there's a lot of theory that this whole encounter here and the whole fully fleshed out storyline with the Iron Hand gnomes and the rune powder being something much more useful in as part of a storyline that plays out. So this may be something that doesn't have any effect now, but might actually have something, you know, more of an effect in a DLC or something like that later on. It's all very tinfoil hat, though. Nothing at this point is going to tell you anything other than a dialogue option that you're going to get later on. So you don't see half of Baldur's Gate blown up or anything like that when you get into Act 3 because of a freedom fighter attack or anything like that. It just isn't to that point. So we're not going to read this one. I think it's this one first. Nope, it's this one. You can see the top edge is clearly hewn, but the bottom is jagged. This is the top tablet in the list of 3 of them. And it goes through some of the history here with Ketheric and the Sharans. And do this O, the inscription ends here, once a 10-day. The top and bottom of this tablet are uneven, as if they were broken. So you can read the whole thing by reading them in order. But it's basically a useful set of lore about Shar and Ketheric Thorm, who is her avatar on, or, you know, in the Forgotten Realms here. So, interesting lore that you can pick up. Okay, and there may or may not be certain items like incense that you can again pick up here that is worth the same as what the silverware and that sort of stuff was worth at 20 or 30 gold for very low carry weight. So if you're really interested in maximizing your gold, there's plenty of stuff that you can loot in these vases around here to give you that little bit extra. Okay, so now we can go out here and loot the rest of this area freely. Send that to Astarion. There's a hand-drawn map here, which has two X's marked on it. The words hiding spot are written within the upper level circle. The lower level circle is identified as smoke power reserve. Okay, and once you take that, you're going to get this marked on your map here for the smoke powder reserve. These are still the Adamantine Forge and the amulet? Yes. And that smoke powder reserve is what we have already explored. That was the door that we opened up and went in and detected the button and found those items. So we are almost entirely full here. We'll just pick up the last few camp supplies and then we can head back down to that area. Now over here we do have a skeleton you can search. Nothing here. There's this side room over here, but nothing that I've ever found in it. And now the door here. And again, it's completely locked. You can't pick your way out of it. Sorry about that. I wish there was experience given for picking locks, but there's not. Or disarming traps, that sort of stuff. So now we can head back down where we were here, and here we go again with this jump. And nobody else wants to follow us this time.
Assume nothing.
Objective noted.
The pride of the gate.
Is that hanging skeleton key in here? I thought that was in the Merregon Room.
What a day. Go.
Yeah, I think you might be confusing that with the hanging skeletons in the Merregon Room, Scorcho. Unless there's a hanging skeleton down here somewhere that I've missed. But I know which key I think you're talking about. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think I know the key that you were talking about.
Looking ahead. Don't waste a step.
Okay, so we're going to head back down here. Don't forget to head over to this side. the heavy chest here with camp supplies and crafting materials. And we've... Oh, we didn't see this previously.
Indolence breeds madness.
Some black and summer green dye. Interesting. We might try that out here in a little bit. Now you can head back into this room and we're going to go out and look around the corner here.
All right. What now? Light on my feet.
And again, this is that area marked on our map here that we found previously here with this button. And yes, the smoke powder was sitting here on this bench. That's what that smoke powder reserve marking is for. So if you didn't find this, that hand-drawn map would lead you to it. So if you played that out differently and you let her leave without giving you a vial at all, this is a way to get more smoke powder if you don't have any on you. Okay, so we are going to get a Astarian. Actually, I have enough spell slots here. And I prefer to save that though. But I can at least get the additional boost out of this. For Astarian, like I say, I don't think we're going to need this. And now we can change our weaponry back out. And we're going to change this to the Susser Greatsword.
Swift as my feet can carry me. I need a quick word.
Ah, it's you. The mascot of my ill fortunes. Once again, however, you've done me a decent turn. Most amusing watching you wallop greylings.
Okay, so there is some different dialogue here if the Dwergar are not watching you.
I came down here looking for Wulbren. I suspected he and his little friends might have come to this region. And I was right. But I was too late. Wulbren had already been taken to Moonrise Towers. The rest, put to work. You won't find a worse gaggle of ne'er-do-wells than these Iron Hand gnomes. Except for Wulbren, desperate though his taste in companions might be. As I was contemplating his folly, I was spotted by a very ugly Dwergar. Now, I dig. It isn't good. I thought they'd be easy to outwit. I had an entire plan. Unfortunately, it didn't account for an army of mad Underdark cultists. Nor did I account for some captives to be trapped in with the drow after the cave-in. Too many permutations. Quite the headache. Help would be welcome. Whether you're up to the job remains to be seen. You will? If you are successful, that would be most convenient.
Okay, so that dialogue is a little bit strange there since I've already
Beldron's
eliminated
still
him.
trapped. Find Philomeen and get that smoke powder. Incredible news. Drop it near the cave-in and set it alight.
Move on! I gave her everything! And she has the gall to send you to break me! Get us out of here, all of us! And hope for her sake her path never crosses mine again!
Okay, so as usual, as we've seen previously, so the rune powder vial here is quite a bit more damaging. This is 5d4 plus 18 of force damage, compared to 2 to 21, which is 3d4 plus 9 for the smoke powder bombs. And
Action, not reaction.
the same for the smoke powder satchels. So the rune powder is, like I say, quite a bit more useful, so to speak, for later encounters where you might want to sneak this in somewhere, drop it off, and blow up a whole lot of people and or things. So I'm gonna hold on to it.
As I was taught.
Get back! One spark and it'll blow.
Won't stop me yet. Best be on my way.
I'm gonna move everybody back, and again, I'm going to make sure that the first person in my group here is my persuasion character.
Nuggets will be done.
Blade at the ready.
Okay, so that one on its own didn't do it.
Eager for battle. I know what to do.
Still alive, so that's progress.
Don't touch me.
Finally! Beldron, can you hear me? Beldron!
And that used to turn everybody hostile.
Beldron, are you all right?
Lunkbug. Better now that I'm with you.
Finally! Worthless slaves! Your incompetence has been my ruin!
Nere does not fail.
So you care for the weak, true soul? Was it your hand that slayed Nere's servants? Or is there a sane explanation?
Okay, so we do have some deception options here. If you want to take this a different route, I am not. I'm going to end Nere. Nere's not a good guy, any way you look at it.
Traitor, you have breathed your last.
Okay, so all the initiatives have rolled here. We are going to, and again, Nere is all on his own.
I am fury.
So
I am
Lae'zel
death.
did roll well.
On
And
the
she
move.
can get up next to him. Okay, so he's saved on that one. And we missed with that one. What'd she roll? A 3. Nice. Okay, so I was hoping to be able to silence him with the Susser Greatsword.
Well, so much for peace.
I think that's close enough. It is. Be interesting to know, a 65% chance for this to hit. It's an interesting choice. Saved. Yeah, it's got a +1 to wisdom. He rolled an 8. He's got proficiency. So, oh no, he rolled an 18. Okay. Can't really argue with that. So he's threatened, so it doesn't really matter what we do here. I don't think that's close enough. That's close enough. Great. Rolled a 2. Some not great attack rolls there.
I will ascend. Nothing will stand in my way.
Oh, and it silenced him on the way out. I'm interested as to why that worked. Unless that is not a spell for him, unless that is some sort of drow ability, Lulsworn drow ability that doesn't cast it or cast it as a spell. It shows it as a level 1 enchantment spell. It might not have a somatic component. Maybe that's why silence didn't affect it. So, either way, it's interesting, I guess.
Fleet of foot.
And do I still have it turned off? I do. I don't want him knocked back anymore into the poison clouds.
Let's go.
We're gonna hold off on Astarion until we get Lae'zel in here first.
Make way.
Because now he's threatened, so now my sneak attack damage will apply. Wow. Another 2. Wow. I guess this is what happens when I roll a 19 to pass a history check that is completely meaningless. Now I roll 2s and 3s all day long on my attack rolls afterward. This is horrible. Look at this. This is unheard of.
No choice but to keep going. What path lies before me?
I mean, come on here.
Another parasite. Collect it. It might be useful.
Gee, that was horrible. Okay, so actually while we have this on, we'll cast our mass healing word. And then we will change this out.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Mercenaries. Absolute unites. Moonrise towers. Faith passage. Moon lantern. Drider. Find path to temple. Orders of general. General's necromancer. Balthazar.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
Okay, so we did pick up a useful piece of information there concerning the moon lantern. And that, remember, we picked up, or we're about to pick up a moon lantern here, but that indicates that that would be a way of safe passage through the cursed lands.
The decaying corpse lies before you.
Okay, so we have a strength check here to remove his head. It's not a high one. Oh, I forgot about Valiant Roll. Yeah, gets a 1d8 bonus to her next ability check.
The head breaks off cleanly from the drow's body.
Okay, so that's going to end. That's going to open up the quest to deliver Nere's head. So there is a lot of gold here. We do have just a regular dagger +1, and we have the Sword of Screams. The Sword of Screams is one of the highest damage early game finesse weapons that you can get, in that it always does 1d4 psychic damage. So the +2 from acid is from the maleficent ring that she's wearing, so disregard that. This would be a 1d8 piercing damage plus 1d4 psychic damage. It's also rapiers or finesse weapons, so they're dexterity based. Now, they're not light weapons, so you can't dual wield them. However, we'll look at it here in a second and see how it compares to some other things. And now we have 4 quest marked items here. The first is the Mind Flayer parasites. We know what those are. The Disintegrating Nightwalkers are a great pair of boots. We picked up the Spider Step boots previously, which meant we couldn't be enwebbed. This adds Entangled and Ensnared to that list, and you cannot slip on grease or ice. So these boots basically mean that you are not going to be disabled anymore by any AoE spells that come out against you. They also give you the ability to cast Misty Step, and that Misty Step is once per short rest, you are able to cast it. So having another on-demand Misty Step is extraordinarily nice for a bunch of different characters. You have the Spider's Lair. This is marked as a quest item for a very particular reason, and we're actually going to explore that. It's not one that a lot of people run into because of the way they enter into certain areas in Act 2. But it mentioned the Drider earlier, and this is going to play into that later on. So this is going to become our lyre that we're going to use for now, and then we have a broken moon lantern.
Object catches your eye. A lantern, it seems, though no light flickers within.
Broken trash. It's just full of dust.
Okay, so I'm going to... Actually, I don't know if I leave this, if I can do these checks again. I run into this before. I picked this up by mistake. I didn't want to pick this up with her. Let me see if I can try it. I don't know if I can.
Broken moon lantern catches your eye. Its glow now snuffed out.
Okay. So I have a much better chance of passing these checks here with Will. Not a very high DC. Oh yeah, sorry, forgot about Dark One's Own Luck.
This is pixie dust, used to illuminate a lamp, or left behind after a pixie's death.
And now we can use Dark One's Own Luck for this. Anxious to see what it rolls the first time we try it. A 5.
You see no burner or wick. It was not
see the
fuel
spikes
that lit this lamp, but magic.
It's not a good looking item, and like I say, you can see the spikes in the top and the bottom there. It's meant to hold a pixie in place. It's a captive cage for a pixie to use the pixie's light to illuminate darkness around it. We're going to learn much more about this later on. So let's get rid of our encumbrances. So Lae'zel and my bard both. Still have some space on Will. Move that back. Okay. So we did pick up the disintegrating Nightwalkers here. And again, having access to Misty Step can be very, very useful. Right now we have the Boots of Speed, which are arguably much more useful for Astarion. You gain basically disengage and dash all at the same time. However, being able to Misty Step anywhere can do the same type of things. That does not provoke attacks of opportunity. The difference is that Click Heals, you can use it whenever you want. There is no recharge for this. It's just as many times as you want, whereas the Disintegrating Nightwalkers, Misty Step needs a short rest to recharge it. So the Boots of Aid and Comfort, yes, I think I'm going to change, well, if I change those out on hers, and these are Mister's Grace, right? Yeah. Because Lae'zel already has access to Misty Step. So once per long rest thing for her. So this would give her the ability to Misty Step around once per short rest, and in addition to the once per long rest racial ability that she has to do it. So I guess that makes a little sense. She can then take her her Misty Step a lot more often. There it is. I'm going to put the Githyanki Greatsword back on. And then we picked up the Sword of Screams. So for Astarion here, the Sword of Screams is 5 to 15 damage. 1d8 plus 3 and 1d4 psychic damage. So the Short Sword of the First Blood is 5 to 17. However, that 1d8 piercing is conditional. It only happens against targets that have all of their hit points. So for that first attack against the undamaged target, the Short Sword of the First Blood does even a little bit more than what the Sword of Screams can do. The Steel Forged Sword, however, isn't anywhere near it. So the difference here is that really I would be giving up 1d6 plus 3 and 1d6 plus 1. So 2d6 plus 4 damage, which is 6 to 16 damage, and gaining 5 to 15 damage from the Sword of Screams all of the time. But then I would also be losing the 1d8 piercing damage against full health targets. So the Sword of Screams can be a very good weapon to have against all targets all of the time, as opposed to the Short Sword of the First Blood and an offhand dual wielding only outclassing the possible damage output against targets that have all of their hit points. So it's kind of how you want to play Astarion and how you want to go about doing it. It's really, in my mind, 6 of one, half dozen the other, on which you want to choose. But the option is certainly there for the Sword of Screams. I'm going to keep it on me. Okay, is this a bug? I thought this was Alfira's. Why do I have 2 spiders, liars? Chat, remind me, did I pick one of these up somewhere else? Why do I have 2 of them? Interesting. Oh, that's right. Yes. That's right. I forgot about that. Yep. from Minthara. So that seems like ages ago now, so I completely forgot about it. That is so that you have access to the Spider's Lair regardless of how you play out the Minthara quest line and or the Nere quest line. If you play them both out so that you side with both of them, you get neither of them. But then there's another way to get through the Shadow Curse lands without summoning the Drider or having that encounter. But if you side with either one of them and you kill the other one, you're going to be able to get a Spider's Lair from the one that you don't side with. So it allows you to get a Spider's Lair from Nere if you side with Minthara, and vice versa, depending on how you do it. So, but again, you don't have to do this. If you don't end up with either one of them, there are multiple ways to get into the Shadow Curse lands and surviving through the Shadow Curse lands that do not involve the Spider's Lair. So we're just going to be able to explore this a little bit later as we go, though. And, of course, we got Nere's Head. Okay. And now we should be...
All's well
nope,
that
we're
ends.
still
Not as bad as it
cumbered.
could have. On my way.
Okay. So we'll go out here and we'll talk to Beldron.
Beldron! I was so worried. Did Nere hurt you?
No, I'm all right. Did the sergeant hurt you?
Oh, who cares? We're together now, thank Iron Hand.
We ought to thank someone a little closer by, I think. Gaedel Iron Hand you may not be, but you damn well fight like him. I'm grateful, don't mistake me, but why help us? You're one of them, aren't you? Glittering gods! I should have known that one was too damn stubborn to die. Here. The Iron Hand Gnomes honor their debts. With Wulbren gone, that falls to me.
Make it quick. We need to find Wulbren. Now.
You're a little late, Barkus, my lad. He's already been sent to Moonrise Towers. We were just slave hands to the cult, but not Wulbren. He knows things. Things they want to know, too.
What has he gotten himself mixed up in now?
Well, then it seems you've saved us twice over. Gods above, she bloody did it. Of course she did. Wulbren has a way of attracting true believers. His quest for rune powder was the latest dream he stuffed in our heads. And he was bloody right. He found it. A small cache sitting down here with a manuscript. He just made sense of the formula when the cult jumped us, so he burned the damn thing. If there's a single copy left, it's sitting in his head. Those absolutists pull it out and make rune powder, they could flatten the whole of the Sword Coast. You really would, wouldn't you? But not us. My people can barely stand, and we have business back in the city. Business that sent us after the powder to begin with. The formula might be gone, but we still have the barrels.
And just like that, you'd leave Wulbren behind. I knew you lot were foolish, but I didn't know you were cruel.
If you knew half as much as you think, my lad, Wulbren might have kept you around.
And neither will this twit, apparently.
My people will find somewhere to regroup across the lake. Then, on to the city. If you find yourself in Baldur's Gate, seek us out. We'll raise a glass to Wulbren together.
Covered in dust and...
Okay, we're gonna go talk to Barkus over here.
I should speak up.
It's nothing.
Well, you did it.
Have it any other way.
Well, you
Okay.
did it.
Okay, so the Rescue Wulbren quest we just picked up. We did get past the rubble here. Okay, and we need to go back and talk to Thula. So, you now have the opportunity to go through all of these chests and that sort of stuff that are out here.
Let's crack it open.
You don't need to. We're together. That's what matters.
$32, that's a decent roll. Okay, in here you can just see that this is the fact that the Iron Hand Gnomes tried to claim all of this.
You're covered in dust and... Wait,
And yeah, I was wondering
Stop fussing. It's
about
nothing.
that.
Up for discussion.
Why the conversation
it's my...
Well,
isn't any more
did it.
involved here.
At least some of us are safe. Praise Iron Hand. If only there were more blessings to count.
I may be able to have more conversations if he follows us back to the Myconid colony. Now, that's where we're going to go. We're going to come back here to this area here in a little bit. But we definitely want to head back to the Myconid colony so that we can finish off the Deliver Nere's Head quest. And we're also going to sell off some items if we can. I don't know how
Welcome
much
back.
gold.
Have you made any new discoveries? Let me see if it will answer my summons a second time.
Okay.
Welcome back. Have you made any new discoveries? I do enjoy a good bargain, if anything in my private collection is to your liking.
Okay, so we do have a lot of gold here. Good. So let's go ahead and clear out all of these items. Let's actually go into barter instead. So 419, so we're still okay. Don't need the caustic bulbs anymore, I don't think. Going to keep the void bulb though. So that's 780. Okay, yeah, and that's what we sold off. Okay, we're going to get rid of the Kappa Wrath. We don't need it. $971. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's get rid of... I don't think this shows everything here. Get rid of the armor first. Okay, almost there. Okay.
Very well.
Now let's go talk to
I have
Amelium.
mushrooms to catalog.
Sell off the rest of this.
I greet you, son child.
Ah, so it was the Cap of Wrath that was doing it. Okay, 16. Okay. And did we not pick those up? Yeah, we did. He's just got more to sell. We'll actually pick up some more of those. Those aren't going to be as useful right now, but they're going to be very useful later. Okay, and I think that should be good. Should have gotten everybody down to a respectable carry weight anyway. And we're going to be storing a bunch of these. And you know, I need to go back. Does Gale... I can't remember if Gale has the book on this one or if I just didn't pick it up yet.
May your travels be safe and swift.
How is your more...
Okay, so not this way, up this way.
The nutrition my species receives from other minds is difficult to eat. Peacebringer, be at home. The Drow sought to shatter our circle. Now his flesh may feed its growth. In dealing death, you have brought this circle life. and thus we name you Life Chanter. As our circle grows, so shall your song. Wherever you go, only listen, and you may hear it.
Okay, so this is going to give you the Envoy's Amulet, which has the Voice of the Circle class action. This, for 10 turns once per long rest, you can grant an ally a +2 bonus on persuasion checks. Not all that great of an item, but you know, it is what it is. We still have the rapport spores going on, so we can still communicate with them. So now what we're going to do is, I don't know if Thola has any conversation options right now.
I'm coming along, just not fast enough. Any word on my people? You did? Then I owe you more than I can ever repay. Thank you. I'm almost sorry to hear it. I hope to have the pleasure myself. There's plenty more guarding my people, but I'd say you've made a fine start. Don't know. Longer than I'd like, but a slow recovery's still a recovery.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is head back to the Grym Forge. And we're going to take a long rest. The reason for that is we want to reset things in here. So we're going to head back to camp and get our action economy back.
You carry a Githyanki relic. I will have an explanation. Or your head.
Walk away. Now. I won't warn you again.
You have something precious to my kin. An heirloom. I will have it back.
Heirloom? Plunder from some conquered realm, more like. This artifact is the only thing keeping us from becoming slaves to our parasites. Be glad I have it.
I do not wish to spill blood here. Come daylight, we will find a place to end this.
Fine. You can accept you're wrong, or we'll be rid of you permanently. Either way, I win. You had every chance to look the other way. But here we are. You chose this.
Spare me the justifications, coward!
If anyone asks, I'll say you were transforming. Don't expect to be mourned. She's a liability. It's the artifact we need, not her.
Let me up, and I'll show you. Surrender? A disgusting notion.
You had better warm to that notion very rapidly, or your journey ends here. We needn't be enemies. There's plenty of those to go around already.
What would you have? That we be friends?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But imagine what we might achieve if we channeled some of that hostility back at our real foes, instead of each other. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Okay, so wanted to give you some of the different dialogue options that were there available in that. So I do want to take a potion of animal speaking, like I always do at the start of a new day. And now we can have our conversations. Oh, and by the way, Lae'zel's always sharpening her sword here. And this grindstone can get a little loud. If you ever want to get rid of that sound in the background, if you have Lae'zel in your camp but she's not a party member, and she's just always sharpening her sword, instead, don't invite her into your party, take away whatever greatsword she's has equipped, and give her like a quarterstaff or a hammer or something that doesn't require a grindstone to sharpen, and she won't ever do this again. So just in case you're annoyed at the grindstone going on in the background all the time when you don't even have Lae'zel in your party, just invite her in, change out what weapon she's equipped to, and you won't have to ever hear it again.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully. Eventually.
I really thought Shadowheart and Lae'zel might fight to the death over that artifact. A pity. It would have made for a fine night's entertainment.
Very glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled things without letting any blood. I would have enjoyed the spectacle, but not losing either one of those lunatics.
Speak. It is over where I am concerned. It is through conflict that we strengthen our bonds. Yet I do not recommend Shadowheart seek it again. The next resolution may not end in her favor.
Okay, so looks like we've squared things away here anyway.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
I don't think there'll be any more trouble between Lae'zel and I, if you were wondering. We can all sleep easier now. Well, apart from all the rest. You have an interesting definition of friendly, but yes.
Okay, so nothing new there. Go up and talk to Scratch.
The dog is unable to speak through the small bag he holds in his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. All I know is I thought of you when I saw it.
Okay, so Scratch brought us a potion of healing. Always nice. And now I'm debating. I'm debating about what I want my party makeup to be. I think... Let's take the die and put it back here. Okay, I'm going to change up my party makeup here. Well, that's only for really that one thing. No, I'll keep it how it is. I really would like to have Shadowheart with me as we go through the remainder of this, but there's only really one thing, I think, that it impacts, and I can deal with it back in camp as well. So, actually, before we head out, I need to go do one thing real quick. Give me 2 minutes. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, let's just leave camp and we will head back out. Okay, so here in this area, there's a couple of things that you can look at before you go. Can jump across here and search the skeleton here, and you're going to have an unfinished sending. Sending is a spell that you can do where you can send up to 25 words across distances to a particular person. So just a little bit of lore type thing there, nothing really in particular about it. You come over here, there's a defaced statue of Shar. You can interact with it. If you have Shadowheart interact with it, you just get a slightly different dialogue.
Looks like someone's not a fan of Shar. Smeared the absolute symbol all over her.
And then, as we discussed in the Paladin livestream, you have this area over here. Now, you can Misty Step across this. You can also use Lae'zel's jump ability to get across there as well. You don't have to, though. You can continue on the regular way and you will end up in that area shortly anyway. Okay, so now we can head back here to the Grym Forge, and we're going to make our way around the corner. Actually, before we do that, let's head to the Myconid colony and see if the gnomes have made their way back here?
At least they're peaceful.
They have.
I have something to ask.
Thanks again for offing that drow. Only made it here because of you. But I can't stop thinking about the rest of us. Stuck in Moonrise with a bunch of sadists. Poor bastards.
Okay. So...
Worse than last I saw.
No need for me to ask how you fared. Some of my kin have already made it here, safe and sound.
It's past time we were back in the city. But if you find yourself there, call on us. The Iron Hand gnomes are good friends to have. No fooling you. We've some scores to settle back in the gate. No. But the Iron Hands owe you a different kind of debt. Find us and we'll make good. That, I promise.
Alright, and...
But at least they're peaceful.
Yeah. So... I don't think... Oh. Is Glut still down here? Oh, he is. Forgot that we didn't take Glut along on this playthrough.
I got everything then?
The rot still spreads. Let me join you, so I may cleanse it. I must see it for myself. Lead me to the rot. I wish to see it fester.
Oh, so the only way for this to conclude... I see. Okay.
Remain in the
So I need to take him over there.
I will follow.
That's easy. We can just jump him over there real quick.
The rot together.
He's going to probably immediately go hostile when we do it. Or he's going to immediately have the conversation with us when we get over here.
Bloody rot flower for company? Must have let it get in your head. My axe will fix that in no time.
What is happening here? This is rather interesting. Did we get to kill him again? I mean, what?
Taking position.
Okay. No, he's back to full health. And he's sitting in the exact same place he was last time. So... No, because I'm pretty sure that that right there is his dead body. I mean, maybe it's not. No, this is Gek Cole. This is not the other Gek that was on the boat. Gek Cole always sits there in that spot. He's got an invisible friend up here. He's got an invisible friend back here, Holvik. I think this thing just resurrected him just for this encounter. I think this is a bug. Because I'm pretty sure I killed him right here. That's why there's all this blood here. So, I think this is just a quest bug that happens here when you bring Sovereign Glut back. Instead of him just going into the conversation, seeing that they're all dead and going into the conversation about it, it actually revives Get Cole for some reason to do it. I'll go back and check the footage of the previous live stream. I mean, I don't think he was just knocked out. But anyway, I'll take a look at it and see here. So
let's spill some blood.
Nothing important is ever easy. Let's get this over with.
Let's turn someone inside out.
okay. So the interesting thing is he going to have his items? He still has his items on him. Because there's no way I could have had this encounter without killing him. Or at least, like you say, knocking him out. So it's very, very strange. Don't know exactly what happened here.
The tumor is
Yeah,
excised.
right.
The Dwergar are dead. Here I break ground. From the dark will a mighty circle rise. My song will fill the grotto. Death Doer. The grotto may sustain but one sovereign. In the age of Glut, there may be no spore. Eliminate the other sovereign. A fate it has earned. My circle long suffered while the Dwergar flourished. I sang to Spore for help. Yet it cowered in the grotto and let my people be slaughtered. Choose, Smooth Mind. Help me grow a mighty circle and reap the reward. Or protect the precious poltroon as it waits for the circle of Glut to devour it whole. It is my right. It is my right.
Its delicate harmonies turn to scrapes and scratches.
Your corpse will birth my circle.
Okay, so again, I'm trying not to waste any of my action economy here.
On the move.
Glut's got a lot more hit points now than normal. I guess it doesn't really matter here, though, because I can take a long rest all I want. Almost killed him.
I won't give in.
It was not meant to be. We saw to that.
A sovereign with no subjects. Glut won't be mourned.
Okay, so very strange, but I did complete those 2 quests now. So took a little bit of time there. So let's head back to the Grym Forge.
Another step forward.
And we'll get back on track where we were. We'll head around here. So I did use a little bit of action economy there. But one of them I can get back with a short rest, and the other one, or crit,
I'll catch a break.
I'll have to wait until a long rest comes along. And I've already talked to the Rothe,
Seems like a good moment to talk.
just to make sure.
Afraid of them.
Do not.
Yeah, same thing. So we'll head down here and go through this area that we already opened up.
Someone there?
A lot on my mind. And, well, in it.
Okay, there's some adamantine slag and some skeletons that we can search. Now there's something important here. You hold left alt, there's a devil foil mask here.
Belongs to a Merregon, if I recall correctly. Hell's foot soldiers. I don't fancy meeting the commander.
Okay, the devil foil mask, right now there's nothing that appears to be significant about it. However, the devil foil mask has a property that goes along with it, which we're going to illustrate here in a little bit. It also has a use, in that this is an item that in Act 2 Damon can utilize to craft an item. So there are, I believe, 4 of these in here. So you want to make sure you search through and pick them up as you go.
Sharp as ever. Could come in handy.
And we're going to explore that here in a second. Eric?
What to do?
So here's where we have hanging skeletons, and this is... We're going to get into a little bit of this here in a second. This is what El Scorcho was talking about a little bit ago. You can search the hanging skeletons, so be sure to do so. And here's more incense that you can sell. Again, just like it's very low carry weight, high gold per carry weight numbers, if you're interested in that, and it's all over the place in here. The individual incense sticks aren't worth anything, but the bundles are.
Very well.
Okay, now here I'm going to have...
Is that blood?
Historian renew the guidance. Oh, that was hide. I wanted to toggle the group.
Watch how you go. There's a trap.
Okay. So found both of them. You don't have to disarm these if you don't want to. And this part up here is part of why I wish there was some XP given for disarming traps or picking locks. So, you have this broken bridge here with a couple of mines on this side. That's probably why the bridge is broken, is because it was mined. You can use your Githyanki jump ability across this, or you can Misty Step across it. However, there are a couple more mines over here on this side. So it's best to approach it from the other side, and we're going to get there fairly quickly. You have an orb of dark vision here.
Oh, that's a familiar feeling. Darkness and loss.
Okay, so for him it doesn't matter. For Will, you can see, well, I guess it gave it to him, but that doesn't matter because the historian already has it. But for people who don't have the racial dark vision component, this will give it to you for 9
These
turns.
things have stayed interesting.
Okay, and now here I'm going to toggle the group again.
Keep your distance, darling.
We're going to get to that here in just a second, Eric.
Someone's left a trap.
Okay, so you can see there's a trap there. There's also a trap here. You don't have to disable any of these. You can jump over all of the traps that you find. All of the DCs of the floor traps are the same. The triggers, the floor triggers, are the same. They're all DC 10. So for Astarion, they're nothing. All of the actual traps actually not these two. The 2 gargoyle traps are still DC 10. We're going to get into some more here in a second. I forgot. I thought this was different, but it's not.
Be careful.
Okay, and Astarion is doing really well at detecting these.
Traps. How considerate.
Okay, these trapped beacons, however, have a slightly higher DC. These are 15s. So I still can only fail with a 1 here. Oh, there it is. Did you see? I heard it. Did you hear the sound during the roll? Indicating that you're going to fail it. That's how I knew it was a failure even before the dice roll completed. Well, I mean, like I say, when you think about it, 1 in 20, it's a 5% chance. So it's going to happen more often than you think.
There are traps about.
Oh yeah, I jinx myself all the time in tabletop. It's how it works. Like I say, I don't necessarily have the Will Wheaton dice curse, but it's pretty bad sometimes. Wow, he's doing really well at perceiving all of these. These are all DC 15s, by the way. So all of the perception checks are DC 15s. So he's rolling really well. He does have proficiency in it. I can, yeah. It's at this point I'm okay with rolling a 1 because I've got the inspirations to burn. I don't expect to have to use any more of inspirations throughout the rest of this, but I could, like you say, change over to the Gloves of Thievery and have advantage on the rolls. It's just, at this point, I'm not really too concerned about it. Like I say, I got my 1 in 20. If I say this, I got my 1 in 20 out of the way and it's not going to happen again, that just means it's going to happen again. But I do still have 3 inspirations, so... And again, these trapped beacons, you don't have to disarm these. If you disarm the triggers, or you just jump over or walk around the triggers, these traps won't activate. But with the amount of jumping that you have to do, splitting your group, individually jumping every character past these, and that sort of stuff, it's arguably faster just to disable all these. So he failed his first perception check here.
Moving ahead.
Keep a blade close.
Was bound to happen.
I will never believe this. Watch how you go. There's a trap.
Someone's left a trap out for us. Do not waste this.
What to do? Trap. Be cautious.
Oh yeah, there you can get some of these support classes like that that have really high numbers.
Be careful.
In perception. We're almost done. We've got 3 traps left and that's it. No.
Traps.
Okay, well, he managed to get it even without guidance. Okay. Now, here is the gate that Eric mentioned. So, you come up to the gate is locked, and lock-picking is impossible. Now, there are a couple of skeletons here, and this one right here, I believe, has a key, the iron key. That key is not the key you are looking for.
Still breathing, despite everything.
It kind of fools you into thinking you are, or that this would be it. That key is actually used for that door right there. So, how do I get into here? Well, there's a couple of ways to do it. And having Lae'zel makes it really easy for either of the two ways to do it. So the first way is to Misty Step into this area. There are a couple of locations in here where she can see through the bars enough to Misty Step in here. Okay? Because right there's a lever that opens this gate. There is, however, another way to do this. You can use her Mage Hand ability to, again, cast Mage Hand in here. And you can have the Mage Hand trigger the lever. Okay? So, two ways to do it. Either way works perfectly well. I just find that the Mage Hand, if you have it with Lae'zel, that's an ability she doesn't use very often, whereas Misty Step she might. So that's why I always kind of end up going the Mage Hand route if I have Lae'zel in my party. If I don't, then I just use the Disintegrating Nightwalkers to Misty Step through there. Yeah, you used to be able to open this gate in early access. That's what confused everybody, but you can't do that anymore.
Let's move.
So for all of that trouble, what do we get? So, I think I searched this one. I did.
Open up.
Some camp supplies. Some more incense. Bag of rotten food. Another skeleton with a dagger. And then we have an Idol of Shar. Now, if Shadowheart picks this up, you have a set of dialogue that goes along with it. Almost that exact same set of dialogue can be had if you have somebody else pick it up and then talk to Shadowheart later, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to pick up the Idol of Shar.
An Idol of Shar. Shadowheart might want to see this.
And that updates the Chosen of Shar here. So this is basically letting us know that this is something she's going to be interested in seeing and taking a look at. And then around the corner, we have a gilded chest. Now this has the Protecty Sparks wall. If you are doing a lightning charges build, especially on a spellcaster, this is a bonus for them to be able to utilize those lightning charges for protection. So I'm not doing a lightning charges build here for Will, even though I do have some access to some of them. But right now, he's just got padded armor on, which is upping his armor class to 13. If I take that off, it would drop significantly for Will. His 17 drops to a 14. So he significantly drops it off. However, once he gets lightning charges, he has a +1 bonus to his armor class. Where this really comes into play more is with your spellcasters who do not have access to light armor or medium armor or something like that, because this is clothing. So Gale is a good recipient for this. Gale in my full playthrough is lightning charge based. So he has the robes, he's got the gauntlets, he's got the boots, he's got the ring, he's got the shield and the spell sparkler. And you deal a lot of additional lightning damage and get a bonus to your armor class while you're doing it. Things that are resistant to lightning damage or that are susceptible to cold damage, I change out to the Morning Frost and change them over to a cold build instead. But for Gale or, you know, a pure wizard or sorcerer type build that you're working around that doesn't have access to armor of a type, the Protecting Sparks wall is quite good for them. And yes, like Lord Henry says, you can gain a bonus +1 to your armor class and also use mage armor to up that. So especially for Gale, who doesn't have access to a high armor class without mage armor, this can help, and then go in conjunction with mage armor, it just ups it even more. With Will, I could get that armor class back up to 17 by equipping this and then casting mage armor at that point. But then again, I'm using a spell slot, or if I've configured Will with the Eldritch Invocation that allows him to cast mage armor whenever he wants, then I could get that armor class back up to 17, but without using a spell slot. So can be very, very, very useful for your lightning charge based builds that you have. Okay, so you can get another look and see where we are. You can now tell exactly where we are. This is where we fought Nere in here. This is where we stole our potion and got into all the troubles. So now we're going to head here. And where is Will? Okay. It doesn't matter if he stays down there.
Things have stayed
I'm going to head down the ladder here. So there are some things you can search down here. Wooden barrels. I'll pick that up because Astarion doesn't need any more.
What's hiding here?
And crates. With various things that you can end up selling. And another heavy chest.
What path lies before me?
Okay, and now we can make our way back up. From any of these locations, like from here, you actually can use Lae'zel's jump ability to get over here, or Misty Step as well. Actually, I think Lae'zel might be able to make this jump just with her strength to get over onto this walkway. We're just going to get over there in a different way. So now I'm going to make my way back and head down this ladder here. Okay, we have another heavy chest here. And there's a potion of glorious vaulting, which kind of gives you a hint about what's going to happen here. So now you can see we have this platform that is across this area, and there are 2 levers. Now if you press one of the levers, that lever makes the platform move back and forth across here. The other lever makes it go up and down. And now again, here is another one of these areas where I have seen characters jump on this and fall down here and end up dying, and their resurrection point is sitting right there. Horribly stupid. I've seen it happen twice in my in early. It's actually in one of my live streams. It happened, I believe, during early access. So I just don't trust this anymore. So I always jump my characters up here individually.
Indolence breeds madness.
Sharp as ever.
But feel free to take the chance.
How delicious.
And now, you can actually reach this lever without leaving here, but you can trigger these levers using ranged attacks. Important to remember.
Never a dull moment.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
Where am I needed?
Looking ahead.
Okay, so over here on this side, we have some skeletons that we can search. Okay, and then we are going to
Let's get going.
climb up this ladder here. Going to toggle the group. Okay, and there are the 2 mines that are on this side.
Someone there?
So again, misty stepping across here can be very bad, especially if you misty step to right here. The mines will go off. They will throw you backward. They'll throw you into the chasm and you're dead. Oh, our first nat 20.
Still alive, so that's progress.
My
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, so in here you do have some more bases you can search. Then we can head down here.
Time to press ahead.
You're going to get another check down here.
Bloody tracks. Quite small too. A gnome found some trouble here. Bloody tracks. Quite small too. I see tracks there. Or footprints. That's worth a look.
And you can see these bloody footprints here. There's a set of broken shackles here on the ground. Then you can see bloody footprints from there underneath me to here, to here, 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 leading off here. This area here is outside the gate that we came in when we took the boat to get here. So a gnome dropped their shackles here, jumped off into here, and took off. This is never explained explicitly, I don't believe, in the game, but the consensus is that this is how Thola escaped. She came up here, she had stolen the boots, remember? She got up here, she broke her shackles off, she was bleeding and hurt, and these are her boot prints that lead you off, because you can see they're not footprints, you can see there's a heel here and a toe. So she was wearing boots, and she jumped off here and swam across the lake, and that's how she got to the Myconid colony. So, just, again, you don't have to find it, you don't have to search it, but again, something interesting that the devs put into the game that just adds that little bit extra to the game, you know? So now here we have some double iron doors, but we already picked up the iron key. And that unlocks this area. Now in here we again have some skeletons that we can search.
Let's have a look.
And you can see where we are. This is where the ochre jelly fight was on our way over to meet Philomeen. We're now above that area. And then back here... Oh, Phantasmal Killer. Nice. Love that spell. Well, love that spell in tabletop. Here we have a Sharan Inquisitor, and we have the Harper's Key. Okay, so basically this is saying that they captured a Harper, they tortured the Harper, she revealed the location of her stockpile on a rocky overlook, but the chest is trapped. So the spy refuses to reveal how to open the chest, only crying Lux Splenda with every lash. Some type of watchword, no doubt. That's actually not what it is.
Look, Splendor. Give a light spell a try. That should get us into that chest.
There you go. If you pass the check there, it says that you can give the light spell a try. That should get us into the chest. And this is what I missed previously in dealing with this encounter. We're going to go over there because we didn't do it during this playthrough. We're going to go over there and do this, but we're not going to do it yet. We want to unlock a waypoint before we go over there and do it, so that we don't have to do all this jumping around and everything anymore. Some camp supplies. And now remember, we have some hanging skeletons. Don't forget to check those. And here we have a tarnished silver key. we also have our first mold. There are going to be 6 of these, I believe. Is that the right number, chat? Is it 6? Or is it 5? There's going to be, I think there's 6 of these that you can pick up. And we're going to explore these more. Now, these are heavy. They weigh 10 pounds apiece.
An elaborate mold for casting or forging. It belongs to an equally elaborate forge, I expect.
Okay, you don't have to carry them all around. You can send them to your camp if you would like, for now, and then go back and get them later on. And now, we're going to deal with these doors. Now, these double doors here, you can lockpick these. However, we just picked up a key to get in there. Okay, so what we're going to do... Yeah, I've talked about this before, and I can never remember that there's another skeleton we can search here real quick before we do this. I think this is going to be the last thing that we do. I totally underestimated how much additional content there is down here that we haven't done on the way to the forge, so we'll probably be getting into the Grym Forge. We will do the Grym Forge fight next week, so we'll be getting into the further exploration through here to get over to the Grym Forge and that sort of stuff next week. But we'll be able to do this fight here, and what I'm going to do is bring everybody down here, but put everybody in hiding. Toggle the group. I'm going to take Astarion, put him up here.
Waiting with bated breath.
I'm going to take Will and move him up here.
As a moonbeam.
The other two, Lae'zel and my Bard, I'm going to leave down here.
If this isn't important.
And I'm going to trigger this fight with Astarion. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. You can trust in the fact that he's going to roll first in initiative, or you can go the stealth route, keep him in hiding here, and open these doors and hope that he does not get seen, that he passes his stealth check. So that's what I'm going to do, because as soon as he opens this door, he's going to be in a detection cone. And if he passes his stealth check, then you'll have the opportunity to move back away from here. If he doesn't, he's going to be into combat, and then you have to rely on the initiative. Okay, so he got seen. He did roll well on initiative. So now we have a Merregon Legionnaire back here in the corner, and you can see we can actually examine him. He's wearing one of those devil foil masks in here. Okay, now his strength, actually I won't talk about that. I'll talk about that later. So he's resistant to slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. So he's resistant to all forms of melee damage. He's immune to fire damage. He's resistant to cold damage, and he's immune to poison damage. He is not immune to lightning damage. And he's not immune to force damage, radiant damage, that sort of stuff. So keep that in mind. Fireball is going to do nothing against him. The other things that are in this room are 3 Hellsborers, which again are resistant to fire damage and resistant to poison damage. So don't start throwing fireballs around or fire cantrips or anything like that in here and expecting to do any damage, because you just won't do any. It's not the way to go here. But what we are going to do is trigger this off. So there's the detection cone. So I'm going to move out of it. Actually, I'm going to dash first. Then I'm going to move out of it. Then I'm going to go into hiding.
Into the shadows.
And I'm going to get a sneak attack here. Why don't I have advantage against him? Yeah, I can use it here. It doesn't really matter as much. Okay, so for some reason, even though I was in hiding and he was within range, it wasn't going to give me the advantage there. So now that I've got dash on, I'm going to make my way all the way back here.
Step quick.
Couple reasons for that. First, remember the Hellsborers have blazing hide. So whenever I hit them with a melee attack, I'm going to start burning for 3 turns. So you want to try and take them out with ranged attacks if you can. The other thing is that the Legionnaire has extra attack here. So if he gets within melee range, things can start hurting quite a bit. And to that end, what are we going to throw down here in the doorway? Okay, so Hunger of Hadar, remember, is going to do cold damage and possibly acid damage. We're resistant to cold, we are not resistant to acid damage here. But the other thing about it is that it's going to restrict their movement. So I want to throw this in here as far as I can with Will.
Let's get it done.
Okay, he rolled well on initiative, so now I can move him back out of the way.
Finding my way.
And wait for them to come to me. And I'm going to keep... Actually, I can move my Bard up here, probably, but I'll move her over here for now. And we'll let this play out.
This feels good. On the victor's path.
From here. So I'm going to let this turn actually go by. Yes, for him, from an action standpoint. Okay, and now for Will.
No holding back.
If I do this, that could be kind of dangerous. Not sure if he's going to have line of sight while he's standing here or not.
2 steps at a time.
We'll see. Nope, he doesn't. That's unfortunate. So we're going to move him here. Actually, let's make sure he's within range. They're both within range. So we'll Misty Step here. I'm drawing a line between those two. Oh, and I didn't turn his repelling blast back on. Okay, that was a mistake. The intent was to try and knock them both back into the hunger again, and I had left the passive off.
Let's have some carnage.
Okay.
Feel their anger.
This is my time.
Okay. So that Hellsboar was blocking the door so the Merregon Legionnaire could not get out. And now that I've got that turned on, a 65% chance here to hit because of the disadvantage on the too dark. Okay, got a crit on one of them, knocked him back even farther into the hunger.
Go for the throat.
And here I'm not even worried about his turn.
No holding back.
Rinse and repeat.
Outmaneuver them. Delicious.
Easy enough. The reason I keep two down here is because if they do get out and I can't push them back, they will move this way. Their detection cones are facing towards me, and I can bring Lae'zel or my Bard up behind them to finish them off before they get to me. So that's why I split my group there.
Defender of the people.
What a day. I could really use some shut-eye.
But just like we saw last week, choke points are a big deal when it comes to the Hunger of Hadar. They can just close off those checkpoints so hard. That spell was the biggest no-brainer in the Baldur's Gate 3 video game. Okay, so here's the Merregon Legionnaire. It does have a Devil Foil Mask that we can pick up. It's also got the Merregon Halberd, which is...
But they won't fight without a commander.
Okay, and that's something else that we're going to delve more into later. I recognize this, a Merregon wore it, but they won't fight without a commander. You're going to learn more about that later on. And the Merregon Halberd, this is just a +1 halberd, so nothing too extraordinarily special about it. And then once you come in here, there's an opulent chest that has the Fire Stoker. The Fire Stoker is a hand crossbow that has an additional trait that it deals an additional 1d4 piercing damage to targets that are burning. That can be a fairly rare occurrence. However, if you're throwing fireballs around and things like that, then, or walls of fire, things like that, then you can possibly set enemies ablaze quite a bit more often. And here is another Devil Foil Mask.
Gods, how many masks are there?
And there's also...
Still only Merregon remains, though. Whatever commanded them.
Sitting down here, you can barely see it, is a rusted key. Whoops.
All right. What now?
Okay. The rusted key, I believe, is what opens that gate over there. I haven't tried it in any of my playthroughs, honestly, but I think that's what that key is for.
How much farther can I go?
Okay, and now with the last minute here before we're done, we're going to explore what these devil foil masks do. Okay, so let's look at some of our stats right now. So Lae'zel has a 17 strength, Astarion has an 8 strength, I have a 10 strength. Now you can see instead of a 10, I've got a 12. Lae'zel, instead of 17, has 19. And instead of 8, Astarion has 10. And you can see that that's because they're getting +1 from Infernal Legion. So, Infernal Legion here... That's interesting if it's listed. It's not listed in... Oh, here it is. So, you are Legion without personality or individuality, born only to fight. Within 20 meters of another creature wearing a Merregon's mask, strength increases by 1, and intelligence, wisdom, and charisma decrease by 1 per nearby mask. Now, what's important about this is that this works both ways. So we had a Merregon Legionnaire there that was wearing a mask. I only had one mask with me, but if I was wearing that mask, then I have another creature within 20 meters of me. So my strength would go up by 1, and my intelligence, wisdom, and charisma would decrease by 1, but the Merregon Legionnaire would also get those same bonuses. So it's important to remember that in fights with Merregon Legionnaires, these things are not what you want to have on. But in fights against things that are not Merregon Legionnaires or are not wearing devil foil masks, they can give you a big boost to your strength for your martial classes. So where intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are dump stats for Lae'zel anyway, and they might be dump stats for Karlach or for some other pure martial class, having a couple of these on can give you a +1 or possibly +2 bonus to your strength depending upon your party makeup, because you're also going to get the -1s in these 3 stats over here. Okay, so they can be fairly interesting. They can be situationally useful as well. However, for the most part, in my experience, you're just better off keeping these so that you can have Damon craft something with them later. Okay, so what we're going to end up with next week is we are here. We've already picked up that smoke powder reserve, by the way. We are here. We're going to continue out here around this way and explore this little area here. Then we're going to head back and come all this way down here and work our way into here and open up a waypoint before we go head to the Harper's Stash. I'm going to need your help, chat. I'm going to need your help reminding me about the Harper's Stash, that we still need to do it. So next week, be sure to remind me about that if I forget. After I open up the waypoint down here, we definitely want to go explore the Harper's Stash. And then we can teleport back to the Grym Forge, quickly walk over there and do this, and then once we're done with it, we can take the waypoint and get right back here instead of having to go through all of this again. So, think that gives us a great spot to take a break. As a reminder, in 56 minutes, we will be starting the Paladin live stream. So I hope to see you all there. So as usual, I want to thank everybody for being here with me today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. Until next time, in about an hour, this is Commander Jorval saying, fare thee well.